Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Section 305, the sports show. I'm Raul Pagan with my colleague Nick Dupont. Today, Anthony Aguirre, since he's spending time with the family, we gave him a pass for
Family comes first.
today's show. Family comes first, friends, any close ones is like eligible. Just like Trinidad Chambliss, who is going to be coming back with Ole Miss. Nick had the hopes that the Miami Dolphins, in certain ways, in next draft, could have selected him. But we all know where that was coming.
I can't. As a Dolphins fan, this is what's
towards.
expected. This is what's expected as a Dolphins fan. You hope for one guy to actually come into the draft, and then these guys are just like, you know what? Maybe I should spend an extra year in college so I don't get drafted by the Dolphins or the Raiders, for example.
I don't think it's about that. It's mostly because Trinidad Chambliss actually could be drafted like top 20, and then you see some certain teams that maybe he just doesn't want to be selected towards, because we've seen so many high class future prospect quarterbacks that are stained depending on the organization that has drafted him. And all of a sudden, they move to another location like Sam Darnold, and they're all of a sudden all pro or at least pro ballers. They win a Super Bowl. Like, it depends on which organization is going to draft him. And it's understandable. So that says more about certain organizations compared to others that actually do their job to compete and want to be Super Bowl contenders. And that's what the Seahawks
absolutely.
That's what the Seahawks proved this season. That's what the Vikings tried to prove last season.
The Jets tried to prove that when Sam Darnold was drafted, and that clearly didn't work out. But the offense was also terrible. So,
we're seeing what's happened with Zach Wilson. I don't know if Zach Wilson is in a better situation right now. He's with the Dolphins, but the Dolphins at the same time, like, they haven't won a playoff game in 2 decades.
Hey, listen. Rebuild plan part 6.0. Okay,
6.0. Stay where you at. Stay where you at. Rebuild plan 6.0. Trust the process again. You're Jordan beating them. We already.
There's nothing else to say.
We already know the outcome of the Sixers, especially with Joel Embiid, since he's been drafted. Trust the process, and they haven't even gone past the second round. You're gonna do that to your Miami Dolphins now?
Listen, man. I'm trusting the process for one playoff win. Okay, it's one playoff win at a time. If we don't even get past the second round this season, I'm okay with it because that means we got a playoff win. Okay,
do you think they're even gonna make it to playoffs?
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is gonna be a timely process with Jeff Hafley. I don't know if I believe in this team yet. Again, I've said it before in multiple podcasts. I need to see the draft first before I can actually believe in this team again, because right now we are in such a lost state and nobody knows what direction we're going in. I keep seeing things about Tua, and then just like today with Bradley Chubb being released, Nick Akine Westbrook released, James Daniels releasing the big one,
Tyreek Hill
released. Man, it's a lot of Dolphins fans are really upset about it, but as a Dolphins fan, I see the vision. I'm trying to see the vision at least on what we're going for. We're going for
trying to create cap space.
Exactly, get a free cap space. Make a clean slate of the team, and then they're going to want to build the way. Like, I don't want to say the Green Bay Packers, but they're going to want to build the Dolphins their way. They don't want to build an exact Green Bay Packers replica. Look at the Green Bay Packers. They've had a little bit of success over the past few years.
That's an organization that I got to respect, because you had the Brett Favre. All of a sudden, you have Aaron Rodgers as a successor. You have the Aaron Rodgers, 4-time MVP, 1-time champion. Obviously, their main goal was to make it back to the Super Bowl. They made most of the conference finals.
Yep.
But never could get over that hump. And now you got Jordan Love, who can take them to the promised land again. The Green Bay Packers is a team that never has a top 10 pick because they're always in the playoffs, no matter what. Like Mike McCarthy. Then you've seen other coaches being part of the team trying to assemble to be great again. And then you got Matt LaFleur, who's done an amazing job with Aaron Rodgers winning 2-time MVP when he was coaching, with Devontae Adams being one of the best wide receivers. The defense, up and downs, but at the same time, they've gotten the pieces that they need to basically be top 10,
Yeah.
maximum, minimum top 15. And then now you got Jordan Love, who's done a good job. Maybe certain games in the playoffs that they needed more out of him, but I'm not gonna put all the blame on Jordan Love, and he still has demonstrated and proven that he is a face of the franchise. And that team, I mean, Micah Parsons' injury was a low blow.
Oh, 1,000%. 1,000.
I felt like they could have actually represented the NFC in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
But
no, I mean, I could have seen it. I could have seen them with the way their defense was playing. Again, there are a lot of questions on the offensive end, but my biggest thing with the Packers, Raul, is that they know how to get players to their team, and then not only that, they know how to draft. Like, yes, they've
yeah,
struggled in the past
definitely.
with drafting wide receivers, but even then, man, like they know how to draft teams and get teams ready to be
Most
competitive
definitely.
every year if they need to. You know, like yeah, they may not make the playoffs by like one game or something, but at least they're competitive, and that's what I want to see out of my Dolphins teams. Not this bull crap of that like that we saw last season with the Dolphins. I can't, like, mind you, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I think this is a team that was dropping 70 points in one game against the Broncos, who now have the best defense in the league, you know, or arguably one of the best defenses in the league.
Bright
And
side to the Dolphins is that they hire as a new general manager somebody that used to work
John
in the front
Sullivan,
offense for the Green Bay Packers. So look at the great, amazing job he's done with that team. So maybe he can get us over the hump and start building a team that could be a contender. I mean, Nick,
trust the
you got
process. Trust the
trust the
process.
process. Rebuild plan 6.0 is crazy. That's actually very interesting. So we're gonna be focusing more today on NBA All Star, not only the event that we just saw yesterday, but also like first analysis of who are the surprising teams, who look like contenders, who have disappointed. And then we'll end this show with Trinidad Chambliss. Is going to return for another year. He had a senior year with Ole Miss. They could have gone to the national championship. Who knows if they could have won it? I mean, I still feel like the Hurricanes actually put on a show. There were some controversy calls at the same time plays that, let's just say, the Hurricanes basically auto defeated themselves. They could have won that game against Fernando Mendoza and the Hoosiers. Like compared to the Patriots, which we talked about that last episode, I mean, Miami actually had a better shot than New England against Seattle. So I gotta give credit to what creditors do. And then we already seen a couple of transfer portals, which we can talk about that in the nearest future. But the Hurricanes actually look nice coming for next season, and the playoff format is gonna stay the same. Let's see how the Dolphins do try to rebuild this team. Obviously, it's not going to be this season. It's going to take like at least 2 or 3 years.
3 years. I'm giving it 3 years for this
3
rebuild.
years. I mean, at least you're honest. And then we got the Marlins that actually have one of the best batting teams in the league coming next season, but they still got to reinforce that bullpen. Yeah. Miami Heat, Erik Spoelstra says that he has a lot of confidence on them coming out of All-Star break. At least we have a win. I know the dunk contest this season was actually a little bit miserable, disappointing. But hey, Keyshawn Johnson won it fair and square. And his dance moves, I'll keep my comments to myself. And then last but not least, the Panthers, back-to-back champions.
Hey man, it's okay. I don't need to focus on the Panthers right now.
But
USA Hockey. I got USA Hockey right now.
Prone to injuries, Nick. You gotta understand that.
Oh no, I've been understanding.
Most of the roster and their best players have been injured. So yeah, we'll focus on the Winter Olympics. Let's see what the outcome is all about.
USA, baby.
Yep. All right. So let's start. We extended. Actually, Anthony's gonna kill us.
Oh, whatever. He's not here today. We can do what we want.
He said 3-minute intro. We made it to a 10-minute intro. Basically, always starting with 3 or 5 teams. All right, let's go straight to our first headline, which basically is talking about the NBA All-Star Weekend production. Can we please put Nick here in the screen? So we're gonna start off. First of all, interesting rising stars. I mean, I feel like they're always more competitive than the All-Star because obviously the rookies and sophomores who are trying to prove themselves of basically being future prospects who can be all-stars, who can become superstars, who can be an X factor on a certain team for a championship contender. And in this case, beginning the season, VJ Edgecombe, before we go to our first headline, he started off basically being like the favorite to win Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
But then you saw Cooper Flag and then Con Conopel basically rising, getting a rhythm. And those two are the favorites right now to win Rookie of the Year. But at the beginning, it was VJ Edgecombe, and he won by a mile. And he won MVP. Also, remember his first game? He had the best first quarter out of a freshman coming in this league. And then the first stats that he had beginning his career, he was basically breaking records.
Yep.
Then he's had his up and downs. Paul George coming back, Joel Embiid, you already know he can't be 100% healthy, but he's been playing good. And then Tyrese Maxey, he's going to be All-NBA first team, in my opinion. I mean, he was.
He should be. I don't think he will. I think he's going to get snubbed out of the first team because there's some other names that I can name 4 other players that should be up there, but he should make second team.
Second team. Before we go to, since we're talking about the NBA All-Star Weekend, what do you think about basically? I mean, they continue to do the same format: G League team, sophomore, rookies, divide them.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it personally. I think it's a good way for the rookies and the sophomores to really showcase their growth and development, especially the rookies coming in. You get to see that raw, talented aspect of them, just them playing. And then with the sophomores, you get to see them in their first, after their second official year in the league, so they have a little bit more development. And at that point, you can kind of be like, oh, like, wow, like this guy's actually grown a lot. Again, my biggest thing is that I feel like there's really no incentive for this game. I mean, yeah, they're just showcasing their skills and they're just putting on a show for everybody. So I guess they have a little more incentive to do that. But for these guys, man, it's just, they're trying to prove themselves.
It's like a collegiate level. It's like a collegiate level.
Yeah, man, like it's they're just going to make big plays every now and then, some highlights. But for the most part, man, I'm not going to lie. I barely watched that game. The games that I watched the celebrity game for like the first quarter and I stopped. And then I watched All-Star Weekend, except for the All-Star games. Unfortunately, I was busy yesterday with family. But for the most part, man, it's, I mean, they could do more. I don't know what would be more, but it's been the same. It's like rinse and repeat every single year for this event. And people are getting tired of it. And clearly people are getting tired of it. But I don't think it's bad for the rookies and sophomores to go out and showcase themselves personally.
What do you think about the celebrity game with Shams Charania, our NBA insider?
That's not journalism. That's not journalism. That's not journalism. I don't care what Anthony said before in the previous podcast episodes. That is not journalism, bro. You got to, if you're going to go out there and be selected for that thing, you got to at least make one bucket, dude. You didn't even have a bucket, if I'm not mistaken.
What about him with the cell phone? Apparently, supposedly, he was ordering DoorDash.
Oh, good for him. He probably needed it after that game. Cures depression after being announced for that game. That was rough, man. Shams, congratulations on making it. I expect more from you though next year, if you do even make it. I hope you make it, but at the same time, it's like we need someone else out there. It can't be him.
I mean, out of his job, he's been criticized a lot. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes maybe informing wrong headlines, news.
Listen, man, he's the definition of, trust me, bro, I am the source. And then the source comes out and it's like, dude, like, this is not at all like what this guy's thinking. Like, you're just making stories and just trying to put it out there.
How much you Mitch Woj bombs?
Dude, like, why didn't Woj ever get a chance to play? Can someone tell me that? Why didn't Woj get a chance to play in the celebrity game at the time? Or is it because he's white and he's slow? I mean, I don't care. I don't care. I mean,
Maybe
the
his
guy would have
age.
balled out.
Maybe his age.
I mean,
I don't
age
know.
doesn't matter because we had the Suns owner going out there and putting up some baskets. You saw that shot over
True.
Taco Fall that he had?
True.
Taco Fall? It was
True.
nuts, man. But I don't know. I don't
At
know
least a
why.
couple of minutes. Yeah, at least a couple of
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah, maybe like a minute or two. Like, man, you Taco Ball
But
finished the game with 20 and 20. Like, wow.
let's just say he took his job more serious, and he wanted to be basically out inside the cameras, but at the same time behind the scenes,
Don't we wish
basically
that for a
doing
lot
his
of other
good job,
journalists out there?
doing his real job.
Hmm.
This was not something that we just added to the show. I mean, it's just that
Sorry, Anthony, but not sorry.
after that bad performance, like it's crazy, and I feel like he disappointed ESPN
That's not journalism.
badly,
That wasn't journalism.
badly. Real quick, and also give credit to somebody that is recovering from a damn torn Achilles. This guy, for the third time in his career, won the damn
Incredible.
3-point contest.
Incredible. That honestly,
What do you feel about that? What do you feel about that against players who are healthy, who are in the rhythm, who are actually playing during this season? And you got Damian Lillard for the third time in his career, not 100%. Let's just say he's still 70, 80% because he's not expected to play this season. He's
No, he
expected to
probably
play the
won't play the
next
rest of the
season.
season.
And he wins the 3-point contest. I mean, mad respect. And now you talk about Chris Paul retiring. Maybe we can elaborate a little bit about that next show with other headlines because we wanted to include that today, but there's certain that we need to speak of during today's show. But I also wanted to add like the Chris Paul situation because, man, I wanted him to have his last dance. I wanted him to be celebrated. And so he's been mentioned to possibly be retired as the top 5 point guards of all time.
1,000%, without a doubt.
I feel like Damian Lillard, depending on how he ends his career, of what we're seeing right now, and what we could possibly still see the remaining years. Russell Westbrook, Mr. Triple Double. Like sometimes I could actually like debate Lillard or Westbrook can end up once they retire. And Nick, try to understand this as one of the top 5 because I got Magic Johnson, Stephen Curry, Isaiah Thomas, Oscar Robertson, and then that 5th, I'll be wrapping my head off like Chris Paul. Yeah, he could be it. But then Russell Westbrook look like he's accomplished. And look at Damian Lillard. And imagine if one of those two win a chip, what Chris Paul could have done in 2021, up 2-0. And they blew that lead just like the Mavericks against our Miami Heat team in 2006. Your thoughts about that quickly? I mean, Lillard.
I could see that. That's a really good argument to make about the top 3. I mean, personally, over Lillard, I would go Westbrook, just because of the MVP. That MVP season was incredible. I don't care about the rest of the team. What people have to say about the rest of that team. That was probably one of the single greatest performances I've seen in my life. People were calling him the modern day Oscar Robertson, just way more athletic.
And the way he brought a team that basically he did a lot with less.
Oh, of course.
Like what we're seeing from Jaylen Brown with the Boston Celtics. I don't want to disrespect Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, and the rest of the crew, but it is what it is. The same thing when Nikola Jokic this decade won one of the 3 MVPs. He didn't have Jamal Murray. He didn't have Michael Porter Jr. They acquired Aaron Gordon. They had Will Barton and a couple of other veteran and young players. But still, that was not going to make the cut. And he brought them to the playoffs. That was the 2022 season. I remember when they lost the first round against the Golden State Warriors. That same year, the Warriors won it for the 4th time since 2015. So, like, Jaylen Brown right now is a top 3 MVP candidate for me. What I'm trying to say is that those type of players like Russell Westbrook, that's the reason why he won it. Not only because he broke the triple-double record, not only because he was averaging triple-double statistically, but that last buzzer beater against the Denver Nuggets to make it to the playoffs, that was crazy. And so you gotta take in consideration those type of things. You gotta
Oh,
take
of
also
course.
Damian Lillard, what he's done. And remember, Chris Paul has retired. We gotta see what Westbrook and Lillard can bring to the table the rest of their remaining years. So that's a topic that I just wanted to mention quickly here, because then we'll be debating. We will want Anthony to be here. So basically, all three of us can kill each other to see if he's actually a top 5
Well, I don't mind
point
going
guard
after
of
you
all
right
time.
now. I don't mind going after you right now.
I mean, our boy's gonna kill us if we don't go strictly.
Yeah, we're
to
20
our
minutes in without a topic.
for our first topic. Just to wrap it up. I mean, I know it was a disappointing dunk contest, especially that blooper that we saw from Jace Richardson. The son of Jason Richardson.
I thought he
That's
died.
crazy.
I thought he died on the court, to be
I
honest
mean,
with you. When he fell like that, I thought he was done.
He KO'd himself. But
Yeah.
Keyshawn Johnson, I feel like he could have handled the dance situation a little bit more lightly. Or
him? Let's talk about Jackson Hayes. Jackson Hayes could have done a lot more. That first dunk that he had? Are you kidding me?
I'm talking about I'm talking about more his dance moves. Like, it's like, calm down, Keyshawn.
Well, he won the
Congratulations.
He won the trophy. He deserves to make those dance moves. If he didn't win the trophy, we had all those dumbass dance moves. I would have been like, okay, bro, like what are you?
He's the first, if I'm not mistaken, the first guy since Glenn Rice to win the dunk contest.
No, it was Derrick Jones Jr.
Derrick Jones. Oh, I forgot. I forgot about Derrick Jones Jr.
And
which
then
a lot
before him, Harold Miner.
Yeah, Glenn Rice was 3-point. I'm sorry, I forgot about.
Okay, don't worry.
Forgot about that. But yeah, I remember because people were criticizing Dwayne Wade because apparently he wasn't biased of giving Derrick Jones Jr. the 50 mark in order to
talk about Dwight Howard's judging.
That too. In order to beat Aaron Gordon. Yeah, I forgot about Derrick Jones Jr. Wow, that's crazy. So all right, so we have a third E player to bring the trophy. Congratulations to him. At least he gave us.
A little thrilled. You don't sound super thrilled about him winning it.
I mean, it's not about that. It was mostly like his dance moves. Calm down.
I think everyone complained about the dance moves. I liked it.
And then Jalen Brunson and the Knicks, they won the skills challenge. Congratulations to them. All right, now let's go, Nick, to our first topic, which was the NBA All-Star Game. Team Stars takes a trophy in the new All-Star Game format after a dominant victory in the finals over Team Stripes 47-21. Nick, did the NBA fix the All-Star Game?
I think so. I would like to say I think they did. I do think there's a little bit more that they can add. I mean, at this point, I don't know what else there is to add because, there's only so much you can do with the All-Star Game.
I don't think there's else to add.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's really hard to keep adding stuff, especially this. But this format that they had, where they had 5 different games, it felt more like the All-Stars just playing pickup basketball to me. Not that it was not bad at all, in my opinion. I thought they did a very good job this year. I felt like, a lot of people complained about the seating and the attendance, but I thought it was fine. I thought people were there. People were supporting.
Basically, they were scared if they're going to waste their time and money.
1,000%. But for the most part, I think they did a really good job. Kawhi Leonard obviously deserves. He should have won MVP in my opinion. That guy would balled out the entire time. Wait a minute.
Whoa. He balled out in the second game with 31 points. But what happened the next game? Only 1.
You know what? You're not wrong. The
most important game, he only scored 1 point.
I think I'm a little ahead of myself with that 31-point game. That was nuts. I'm not gonna lie.
No, that was crazy.
Yeah.
No, literally, that was crazy. And that's actually a good sign for the Los Angeles Clippers because remember, they had one of the worst starts, and then all of a sudden they made a big run. But then they trade James Harden, their facilitator. They trade Ivica Zubac. Like right now, they're in the 10th spot with a record of 26-28. This is the Western team, not only that team, the Western Conference that we were expecting. When we did our predictions for this season, I said minimum 11, maximum 12 teams are going to be above 500.
Yeah.
And then
it's not looking like that.
And then you saw the Clippers that they were disappointing, the Golden State Warriors, the Dallas Mavericks. Hey, hell, we can say the Sacramento Kings, they're last.
Yeah,
in their damn
that's a
conference
shocker. That's a shocker to me,
with
honestly.
all the talent that they have. Like, what happened there? They still have DeMar DeRozan, Domantas Sabonis. They
They
have
just rebuilt the
Zach
Chicago
LaVine,
Bulls. They rebuilt the Chicago Bulls
Russell
of the
Westbrook.
West.
Yeah, the only guy basically they traded was Dennis Schroeder, who was in a better situation right now. But
Yeah.
still, like, Sacramento to be last. Dallas, obviously, you got to understand that Kyrie Irving has been out. But now they traded Anthony Davis. So it's like, what's going on with the Mavericks right now? And then you got Memphis, who a lot of people are saying that they've disappointed due to John Morant, because he was literally looking like the face of the league
Yeah.
at some point, and also his surroundings with Desmond Bain, Jared Jackson Jr. All of them are out. So we're gonna be talking about that a little bit more in this show.
Towards the middle of the show. But what do you think,
But,
Raul?
but,
Did you think the
but
NBA fixed the All-Star game?
I feel like they did. I mean, look at the scores. It was mostly 2-point differential.
Yeah.
Like, we saw the first game. All right. So Team Stars initiates this new NBA All-Star game format, beating Team World 37-35
Yeah.
in
That was the most
overtime.
disappointing team by far.
In overtime. But Victor Wembanyama was not disappointing. He even said, I'm a ball out. If my surroundings are not doing their job, then I'm gonna have to carry them. In other words, I'm just adding basically texture to and phrase to what he tried to insinuate. At the same time, like, let the press conference know and to the public of what he basically did in the Olympics. Ball out for France, and what he was trying to prove that Team Worlds should have been the favorites to win.
Those are my favorites to go all the way personally.
That was my basically favorite team also, because why? We saw Kevin Durant. What did he said? He said, Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, players are just basically walking, throwing lobs to each other, this and that, basically not taking the game seriously. And so one would think that, oh, damn, Team World was actually international players who have won the last 7 MVPs. That is Giannis Antetokounmpo, that is Joel Embiid, that is Nikola Jokic, and that is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, which right now, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander looks like the favorite. I would pick Nikola Jokic. He's missed a lot of games, but he's still eligible for the award. And then if Giannis wouldn't have been out this past few weeks and the rest that is upcoming on the second half, those are the 3 finalists. Yeah. But now I got Jaylen Brown. I got Jaylen Brown as a top 3 because of what he's doing with the Boston Celtics, and he can break the record for most points scored by a Celtic player in a regular season. Now, coming back to Team Worlds, basically you saw Victor Wembanyama giving everything that he had, and you saw his frustration. You saw his frustration of them losing both games. Like, what are we doing? Supposedly me, Doncic, Jokic, even they only got a few minutes in the first game. They didn't play the rest of the All-Star game. But basically, those international players have been talked about being the face of the league once LeBron, Durant, and Curry retired, over Anthony Edwards, over Tatum, Jaylen Brown, over other American players. John Moran, when he was actually in that discussion. Right now, he's not. Right now, let's just say he's a all-star player or even a good veteran. We'll get into that in the next topic. But what I'm trying to say is that international players have proven that they've taken over the league, even though none of them are still the face of the NBA until LeBron and Curry and Durant retire. We're not going to be talking about if it's Victor Wembanyama or Giannis or Doncic or Jokic. But then USA, like they did in the Olympics, proven that this is our league.
Yeah. No,
congratulations. Congratulations. You guys being here. Well deserved. You guys have said that the EuroLeague is more harder and competitive than the NBA. And all of a sudden, you guys went 0-2 in this NBA All-Star Game new format.
I think the most disappointing player out of the entire All-Star run, I don't want to say Jokic or Luka because they didn't even play the second game. Yep. I think Jamal Murray might have been the most disappointing player.
Nick, thank you for touching that. Thank you for touching that.
Because Jamal Murray shooting 0 for 6 from 3-point range. Oh, sorry, not from 3-point range, just shooting from the field in that first game, and then only having I think it was 6 points the next game. Obviously, you could have produced a lot more, but for a guy playing like the way he is right now,
0 for 6 in his first. 0 for 6 in his first.
And then don't even get me started with Denny Advia, because Denny Advia didn't even look like he should have been there, in my opinion.
Like watching him play, I understand that, but his numbers this season with Portland, basically carrying that team without Damian Lillard, and then Anthony Simons being traded, as he definitely deserved to be an All-Star, but the way he played, it looked like I think we made a mistake.
Yeah. I mean, listen, after all those commercials that they were highlighting Wembanyama, Denny Advia, and that stupid little song, the little jingle that they had or whatever, I kept on seeing Denny Advia, what? Yeah, he's playing great right now, but is it really this desperate for All-Stars right now? We have to get Denny Advia? Seriously? Mm-hmm. Again, I don't want to discredit him. He's having a great season, but when you're performing like that in the All-Star game, and especially Jamal Murray, no excuses for Jamal Murray, because Jamal Murray's been around the league for a while now, and he's been balling for a while now. But Denny Advia, and Jamal Murray, what happened, dude? What happened?
I mean, Nick, even I was criticizing him in one of the radio stations that I work as a sports host called the Heated Program, and in Spanish is El Calentón. Remember Jamal Murray as a reserve player for Canada?
Yeah.
He was horrible.
Yeah.
He was so bad that we were all like, is this guy right now going through a bad road? Because after winning that chip, when he was a main factor next to Nikola Jokic, all of a sudden, either injuries or him basically not producing the way that we expect in the playoffs, he basically does like a light bulb.
Yeah.
Oh, he all of a sudden, he turns on that switch. But in the regular season, he was just normal. All of a sudden, this season, he's had his best numbers of his whole career.
Yeah, this is the best season of his career. Besides the bubble, this is the best season of his career.
And that's the reason why he was selected to the All-Star for the first time. Mm-hmm. And kudos to that. But then you saw what he basically displayed in the All-Star game. And then the next game, only 6 points instead of blowing up with at least minimum 10, 15. Try to get his team to win the game. I mean, there's so many outcomes of what we saw in this All-Star game. But what we saw was Kawhi Leonard exploding against Team World with 31 points. 11 out of 13 shooting, 6 out of 7. He dominated and he was hot. When the Team Stripes in that second game only had 0 points of the bench, Brandon Ingram, Donovan Mitchell, and De'Aaron Fox. It was all Kawhi Leonard against Team World.
Yep.
And that's what had Victor Wembanyama basically frustrated, because it was guys, at the end of the day, we're not proving to basically be the face of this league in the future. You saw Victor with 14 points in the first game. You saw him with 19 points, 6 of 8 shooting, 2 out of 3 from the 3-point line, and 5 of 5 in the free throw line. And then you got Karl-Anthony Towns with 6 points. Okay, decent. You got Jamal Murray responding better with 8 points, but 0 in the first game of their first loss. Norman Powell had 0 coming off the bench, in his
Don't
first
don't
game.
start my Heat guys. Yeah, don't start my Heat
Yeah,
guys, bro. Don't
six,
dial up my Heat guys.
5 points coming off the bench. All right, he produced in some way, but Nick, the outcome of this All-Star game was Kawhi Leonard basically them proving to be a superstar when he's healthy, and
Yeah.
he's basically having an amazing season with the ups and downs this team has had with injuries. With the beginning of the season, they're only 2 games below 500. Let's see how him and Darius Garland coexist on the court.
I think it's
Let's
gonna
see.
work well. I think it'll work well.
I mean, now he doesn't have a facilitator. Now he has a scorer next to him. So we'll see how that works out. And they traded their best big man. So this gave me, at the end of the day, like a positive note on what Kawhi Leonard can continue to do with the Clippers. This gave me also like a big message on Team USA, still letting everybody know this is our league. I know the last 7 seasons international players have won in the MVP, but have you guys forgotten who won the last Olympics? Who's won the Olympics since 2008? Team USA. And
Those
Team
bad
World
men. They're bad men out
and
there.
Team World to end up 0-2 in this new All-Star game format. I mean, that says a lot. And then the third and last thing, we finally got, apart from that finals, but it was Team USA against Team USA. In this game, in this case, sorry, Team Stripes got dominated by Team Stars, which is youth dominating veterans. They're already proving to be the new face of the league, of what we're going to be seeing in the upcoming seasons. And starts with the guy, production, please, put him right there, winning the MVP, and him doubting himself to be the new face of the league? Come on, man. I mean, what do you think about his comments afterwards? Like, instead of saying, like, yeah, I'm going to be the new face of the league.
I think he's just trying to take that more humble approach. I feel like that's what it could be at this point.
Anthony Edwards, out of everybody,
I
he's
know
now being
it's
humble.
crazy. It's crazy to say, but I think he can take that. I think he's probably taking that humble approach right now. He hasn't really. He's won an All-Star game MVP, but he still needs to prove a lot more because at the end of the day, the All-Star game doesn't necessarily mean as much as what it used to be nowadays. But he needs to win it all to be the face of the league. If he really wants to be the face of the league, that's what he needs to do. He needs to take his team to the promised land, and we've seen it time and time again where he takes his teams to the playoffs.
It's been
But
close.
if he's not going to win a championship, he can't be that face, man. He can't be that face of that franchise. I mean, he can be the face of our franchise. He just can't be the face of the league.
At the end of the day, like, I felt that team in 2024 could have gone all the way to the finals.
Oh,
over Dallas. Now, last season against OKC, I didn't have that team going all the way to the finals.
I don't think anybody.
I didn't even have them winning against the Lakers in the first round.
I saw that. Listen, the Lakers are chokers. That's just my opinion, though.
And if Golden State wouldn't have lost Stephen Curry, I feel like the Warriors could have gone to the Western Conference Finals against OKC over Minnesota. They surpassed expectations. When they traded Karl-Anthony Towns, I was like, what are they doing? They were the best defensive team in the league in 2024. They beat the defending champions in that season, the Denver Nuggets, Game 7. And then against Dallas, I feel like they should have won that series. That's the team that I felt like if they would have returned, the same crew could have won it, maybe not win it all, but at least made it to the finals for the first time in franchise history. Now, last season with Julius Randle, even though finally he balls out in the playoffs since he has been disappointed with the Knicks, Minnesota, at the end of the day, surpassed expectations last season. This season, I wouldn't be surprised if they can make it to the Western Conference Finals again, but can they get over that hump? I don't know, because San Antonio, OKC, even Houston,
and other Denver, teams, of course.
Denver, if they're healthy, I feel like they can go to the NBA Finals.
When you have Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray playing at their peaks and the rest of the team is just clicking, and like you said, if they are healthy, that's a team that can win it all every single season because they have the recipe and they have the pieces for it.
So let's go to our second topic. The NBA wrapped up the first half of the 2025-2026 regular season. Who are the biggest winners, losers, and shockers in the league? Both conferences. Nick,
start us off, Raul. No, you start us off. I had the last take. You start us off.
All right. So I'm gonna start off talking about the Western Conference. Why am I gonna start talking about the Western Conference? Nick, I even said it at the beginning of the show. This is gonna be the most difficult conference ever to be witnessed in NBA history.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because who are the only teams that made noise in the Eastern Conference of making big moves? Let's just say Detroit Pistons. All right. The Knicks reinforced the bench. Cleveland basically stayed the same, but now with James Harden, that backcourt with him and Donovan Mitchell is going to be really interesting. And they haven't lost a game since James Harden got traded there. Philadelphia, I criticized about Joel Embiid and Paul George basically being healthy. And then we got the Orlando Magic, who got Desmond Bane. The Hawks made a couple of big moves, but then they traded their face of the franchise. They started off the season basically making more noise, the Eastern Conference, than the Western. And I was very disappointed in that because I said 11 minimum, maximum 12 teams in the Western Conference are going to be above 500. That's how difficult it's just to even make it to the play-in. And so we've seen Dallas 19-35, 12. The Sacramento Kings are dead last, 12-44. The Warriors are 29-26. They've been playing much better, even with the loss of Jimmy Butler for the rest of the season. But still, that doesn't convince. And now the Clippers are on a roll. They're only 2 games below 500, but now trading their best facilitator, their best big man, now being with the Pacers. Indiana's going to be more interesting than ever next season in the East. But when you have 8 teams, when I predicted 12 teams to be above 500, and then Golden State, I don't expect nothing from them. They're in the 8th place. Phoenix have actually surprised, being 32-23, with Jalen Green out the majority or the whole season. Devin Booker also missing a couple of games.
And Dillon Brooks just leading the way for that team.
Dillon Brooks leading the way for that team has actually blow-minded me completely. And now you got the top 6 teams. OKC, they start up 24-1. All of a sudden, they're 18-13 in the last 31 games. Okay, so now basically they looked vulnerable. Mm-hmm. You got San Antonio, who won the majority of their matchup, including the in-season tournaments against them. You got Denver Nuggets, who have Jokic out, Aaron Gordon, Christian Braun. Like, mostly of their starters have been out during the season, and I predicted them to be number 1. They still have that shot because of what we see in the Thunders regressing. You got the Houston Rockets, 33-20. Remember, Fred VanVleet is out for the whole season.
Oh, yeah. And they're still balling without him.
And they still balling without him. The Lakers, nobody has big expectations, but they're having a decent, can I say a decent regular season?
Yeah, you can say that. I'll give you the pass. You can say
that. And then Minnesota. Minnesota is top 7 offensively and defensively. They should have a better record of what we're seeing right now. So my take is that the Western Conference in general has actually been the most disappointing conference, because when you have an Eastern that is more flexible and has more injuries, I gotta basically call out the Western Conference has been the most disappointed. But certain teams like the Kings, the Clippers, right now they're They're coming back. They're coming back. I
They're trying
understand
to
that.
come back. They're trying to come
They're
back.
trying to come back, but Dallas, Clippers, Kings have been the most disappointing team. The Western Conference in general, even though we got these teams that look like contenders, like the OKC Thunder, the Spurs, and the Nuggets, maybe the Houston Rockets, Minnesota's been the last two Western Conference finals. Like those are the ones that convince you more. And then now we're trying to analyze like, is this LeBron's James last season with the Lakers? Maybe last dance with the Cleveland Cavaliers. We'll talk about that in the near future. That has been the most disappointed for me. In the Eastern Conference, I gotta call out the Miami Heat. I mean Nick. I'm
Ooh,
sorry, Nick. They started 14 and
Pablo.
7. They started 14 and 7. With injuries. All of a sudden, they lost their mojo. They lost their magic. And we are the team that has blown blown most double digit leads during this season.
Yeah.
And with the talent that we have, I know we've had so many injuries, but this is still a team that has next Team USA head coach. This is a team that actually it is the number one fast pace of the league. We finally are playing good offensively. We've had 8 games from 1988 to 2024, scoring under 40 points or more. All of a sudden, we've tied that this season. We can break the record in a single season. Defensively, we've gotten better, but we started off,
Yeah.
which that's actually our identity. And then you got the Hawks making so many moves, including the Orlando Magic, and they are in the play-in tournament. And you got Anthony's Charlotte Hornets, nine over the Hawks, oh, getting close to the Heat and the Magic. And then you got the Milwaukee Bucks, Indiana Pacers. And sorry, Nick, but the Pacers, they went to the finals. They shouldn't be 15 and 40. No
Well,
matter
again,
the
they don't
times.
have Halliburton. They don't have Halliburton.
So that makes a big difference.
Yes, it does.
Pascal Siakam is an all-star.
Yeah,
And
but
you got the
but he
same. And
can't
you
be
got
your
the
number one
same
option.
core.
But he can't be your number one option.
I am.
Pascal cannot be your number
Okay.
one option.
I understand that. I predicted them to be a play-in at least. But 15 and 40. Come on, man. That's very disappointing. And then you got the Milwaukee Bucks that Giannis has been out for a couple of weeks, but they've actually been balling since they got Cam Thomas. And right now, they are 5-5 in the last 10 games. I get it, but still, it's a team that one would predict they could be in the top 6 in the East, or at least in the play-in. So those are my disappointing teams. Just to wrap it up, surprising team. I'm not gonna say Detroit. I saw that coming. I gotta say the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
No Jason Tatum. Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis are in other teams between the East and the West. I'm not trying to discredit what Peyton Pritchard and Derek White have done during the season, but Jaylen Brown right now looks like an MVP because he's doing a lot with less. And Joe Masula, I'm so sorry, but Masula should be candidate for Coach of the Year. He's done an amazing job.
I agree.
He's done an amazing job maintaining this team stable. As contenders, Detroit and the Knicks. Jose Alvarado has been a blessing to them, and they haven't lost a game. Cleveland could go back to being possibly a dangerous team. And then as a surprising team, I just said it. Boston is a surprising team. Contenders, Detroit, Knicks, Cleveland can go back to being dangerous. And in the West, surprising team, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Out of all the teams, who made more splash during free agency? San Antonio, Denver, Houston, and they're on top of Minnesota. But for Minnesota to have a better record than Dallas, Clippers, Kings, Warriors, I consider that a surprising team because they basically stayed with the same core, didn't make any noise in the free agency. And now as a contenders, who's actually won a series against OKC? San Antonio. I got to give it to them. But I'll put Denver over San Antonio. So right now, OKC and Denver, those are my two contending teams. Just like I said, the Knicks and Pistons in the other conference.
I like that. I like that take that you had. I think it's interesting to like just kind of go for the entire Western Conference as a whole for disappointing. I understand what you mean though entirely. I am gonna take a different approach from you though. I think my biggest surprise team for the Eastern Conference has been the Toronto Raptors. I think the Toronto
Oh,
Raptors have
wow.
been playing a very great
I
brand of
slept on
basketball right
that.
now.
I slept on
You
that.
know,
Wow,
not,
yeah.
but that's the thing with Toronto. No one's really looked at them all season in that way, shape, or form, where they're like, wow, like this is a team that can actually make a playoff run. I don't necessarily see that right now. I still think,
I actually think they can make it all the way to the Eastern
well,
Conference.
well, it's a
Minimum.
very weak,
Brandon
it's very weak
Ingram
at
and
this point.
Scotty Barnes were both All Stars, and if RJ Barrett wouldn't be injured, I'm not saying he's going to be All Star, but at least he could. They could have a better record than 32 and 23
No,
with
absolutely. I
RJ
mean,
Barrett being healthy.
absolutely. And the beautiful thing about Toronto is that they
Wow,
came
I
into the
forgot about
season, in
that.
my opinion, with zero expectations. And the fact that they're pushing right now for not even just a fifth seed, a fourth seed, it's very impressive to me. Like, yeah, there may be a couple games behind Cleveland, but who's to say Cleveland's going to fall off right now after that James Harden trade? Yeah, Harden's been playing really
They
well,
were falling off. They were
and that's
falling
that's
off,
the thing.
but
That's the
now
thing.
Harden. Yep.
With Harden, yeah, it adds a level of it adds another it adds a facilitator into the floor, especially since Garland's been struggling. But Toronto can make a really big push, especially in a very weak Eastern Conference. And staying in the Eastern Conference, I want to say, I'm not gonna lie,
That's your
Raul,
surprising team. That's your surprising team.
that is my surprising team. I want to go
All
with
right.
Toronto Raptors. I think my most disappointing team has been the Orlando Magic. I At the beginning of the year, I said Orlando would be a top three team in the East because they have all that star power and all
You
the
put them
ability to
over
shoot
the
the basketball.
Knicks. I
Hey man,
remember
but
that. I
on
remember that.
listen, man,
I
but on
remember that.
Listen, man, but on paper, it makes sense to me at least because Paolo Banchero's due for this breakout season where he should be averaging
Yeah.
25 a game at the most. But their center rotation has been so lackluster all season that he's had to play the center spot, the power forward spot, the small forward spot. He's been all over the court. So his
Yeah.
game is very all over the place at the moment. And he's still trying to find that rhythm. He's averaging 21 a game. I don't think that's necessarily terrible. But when you don't have a guy like Franz Wagner, one of your main contributors on the offensive end for a lot of the season, who's only played 26 games, that's also a very big factor on why they've struggled. Like it's a very, very big factor. And then as well as that, you have Desmond Bain. Desmond Bain's been phenomenal for them. He should be averaging 20 a game, averaging 19 right then, right? He's right there to that 20 mark. But for the most part, Orlando has just really disappointing. I thought their bench was going to be better. I thought their center rotation was actually going to work well with Goga and Wendell Carter. Because again, Paolo shouldn't be running the five. Yeah, he's 6'10", but for the most part,
Yeah,
that
but
guy's a
he
power
shouldn't
forward.
be.
Yeah, he's a dynamic power forward who can stretch the floor whenever he needs to. He
At
needs
the
to be
end
a
of the
little more
day,
consistent.
like they don't have like that point guard
Yeah.
that can basically distribute the ball.
Yeah, they have Jalen Suggs, but Jalen Suggs is nothing like people like
More a
to.
scorer.
Yeah,
More of
he's
a
more of a
scorer.
scorer and a wing defender. He's not a facilitator, and
Yeah.
that's really what they need, and that's what they're hoping for with Anthony Black. But Anthony Black's just going to be one of those. He's a good player, but he's just going to be one of those role players for the moment until he really finds his stride in the league. And then, as well as staying in the East, I think there's really not much to be said about this team. The biggest winners right now are the Detroit Pistons. The Detroit Pistons are on fire. I think that's going to be my team to make the finals, and maybe the Eastern Conference Finals against Boston. Again, if Boston can stay healthy, and there are talks about
So you got
Jason
those
Tatum
two
coming back.
over. You got those two over the Knicks in the Eastern.
I'm not talking about the Knicks. As great as the Knicks are playing right now, they have had their struggles and their dull moments throughout the season. I don't
Yeah.
want to call them. I don't want to say they're doing fantastic, but even the fan base has been struggling with this team in certain moments of time because they get Karl Anthony Towns the ball. He's not playing that well. Jalen Brunson's their main facilitator and their main primary scorer, and the rest of the team at this moment they don't look like a regular season team. I can definitely see them as a playoff team, but not a regular season team.
What do you think about the El Salvador and Jeremy Soken
Oh,
negotiations?
fantastic signings! Fantastic signing. I completely forgot that Sohan even went to that team, but that's gonna be
I mean,
fantastic for
that's
their bench
recently.
moving forward.
That was recently.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see it, but I know that Alvarado is going to be a really great addition to their team. I don't know how well he's going to do defensively against those Eastern Conference guards, but again, he's coming off the bench. He doesn't have to really rely on that number
He
one
plays
option.
with a lot of intensity.
Oh, and it's
And,
perfect. It fits their entire team chemistry, especially with Josh Hart, Shohan, and now him. I think they're going to be very great when it comes to that intensity moving forward and building that locker room chemistry and that dog mentality that
yeah,
New York has wanted for so long.
they
And
needed
if
that. They needed that
oh,
push. They needed
1,000%.
like that type of momentum.
1,000%. Now I'm gonna jump over to the West really quickly. I'll be quick with this one.
You're good. You're good.
The biggest winners for me, and this is gonna be a little bit of a surprise. I'm gonna go with the Denver Nuggets. I think the Denver Nuggets have
As a what?
those are my winners.
Oh,
I can go with I could do the 1 seed with freaking OKC or the 2nd seed with or the San Antonio Spurs, but Denver's been very nice, and it's kind of the same. It's kind of the same mentality that New York has right now, where it's like they look like a playoff team, but regular season they've been struggling a little bit. They have their moments, especially Cam Johnson, who has just not been there for the team this season, like the way the Denver Nuggets have anticipated him to be, but. For the most part, I really like Denver. Whenever you have Nikola Jokic on the floor, I've said it before, I'll say it again, that you have a chance every year of winning the finals. And he's having the best season of his career, one of the best seasons of his career. He may not be top 5 in points, but he's number 1 in assists, number 1 in rebounding. He's definitely going to be up there for MVP race. I agree with Raul. That is my number 1 MVP candidate right now. But this team, man, they're so much fun to watch. Jamal Murray has been on a tear all season. You don't really have to rely on your bench as much. Like when you can rely on guys like Jokic and Jamal Murray and just push past all that bench like disaster, especially with Cam Johnson specifically, it's fantastic for them. Now we're gonna talk. Now I'm gonna talk about a team that you mentioned earlier, Raul, the Sacramento Kings. 1,000% that has been the most disappointing team in the entire Western Conference. And I don't want to say Dallas because I had Dallas making the playoffs, but with injuries everywhere and them trading AD at that point.
I had Dallas number 1, so I'm
way. I had them top 5. But again, we also relied on a healthy Anthony Davis, which is never the case in this league, unfortunately. But the Sacramento Kings, man, like, what is that front office doing? Like, I don't understand the mentality. Like, okay, let's start going for a youth movement, and then let's get rid of all of our youth, and then bring in all these older players.
Keon Ellis. They traded Dennis Schroeder, veteran.
Listen, man. When your starting lineup is relying upon Russell Westbrook, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Sabonis, who's I love Sabonis. I think he is their best player. And once you get rid of Sabonis, that's really it for that team.
All 3 of them were in the trade market.
They
were shopping. They were shopping all 3 players: LaVine, DeRozan, Sabonis.
You have to, at this point.
And I feel so bad about Westbrook because he's balling off the bench. But I would like him to be in a content. That's why we started this show talking about like Chris Paul retired, topic that we can do with Anthony in the next show. But that's why I still have my reasons to not officially put Chris Paul as a top 5 because depending on what Russell Westbrook or Damian Lillard can do the rest of their careers. You never know.
No, you will never know. But for the most part, man, this team has been awful. And like, I don't want to specifically target the team. I want to target that front office. That front office is one of the worst front offices I've ever seen in basketball. And there's the Washington Wizards. And the Wizards have actually made some moves to make their team a little more competitive, Yes, right now they're tanking, but they're being smart about it, where they're not playing Trae Young for the rest of the year, which in my opinion is a really good idea, so you can be integrated into the system and develop that chemistry with the guys. And then you don't even have to rely on him. You can just let your young guys go out, develop them, let they see what them got. Sacramento doesn't have any of that. Like, they have a couple guys. They they have Devin Carter, and shout out Devin Carter, DA.
Keegan Murray.
But even then, man, it's not enough. Like, it's not the youth that the Wizards have. I like targeting the Wizards specifically because that's a prime example of a team that's trying. Yeah. I see their vision on what they're trying to go for. Maybe not with AD, but I see their vision.
But Sacramento was giving light to possibly having a good future in this decade, and all of a sudden
they ruined their playoff chances and their hopes when they got rid of De'Aaron Fox. When they got rid of De'Aaron Fox, that was their worst moment.
Also, Mike Brown. I was
1,000%
opposite. I was completely opposite of that firing. I was like, what are you doing? Doug Christie right now? I mean, I don't even know how he has a coaching job.
Well, again, you have to look at, again, this is all the front office. I don't want to specifically target the coaches. The coaches are part of the front office, but I don't want to target the coaches specifically. I don't want to target the players because the players, that team just does not look good chemistry-wise or just all good on the court. That front office, man, just needs a lot of rebranding and there's a lot of rework. They need to develop a new culture and a new identity over there.
I agree.
And then for the most part, my biggest surprise team in the West, man, I'm gonna go with the Dallas Mavericks, and I'm being surprised in a bad way.
In a bad way,
like we just talked about right now. We had Dallas being a top 5 team. You had them winning the West. Now you're getting after one season of Anthony Davis, not even a whole season, half a season with Anthony Davis, you ship him off to the Wizards for almost like nothing, you know. And then you still need Kyrie Irving to come back. You have to really rely more on Cooper Flag now to be that number one guy in this team. And he's just a very raw talent. He definitely has that potential to be that number one guy, but he needs a lot more work, man. But those are my winners and losers. I'm sorry if it was a little too much for everybody, but I just it's really frustrating. It's really frustrating, especially when you have these high hopes for these teams and these expectations. Exactly. And Mavericks fans, as much as I dislike you for that 2011 finals, we did get you in 2006, so we kind of feed off each other there, so that's okay. But I feel for you, Mavericks fans, because you guys should not be going through any of this right now, considering that you made a finals 2 years ago for the most part and almost beat the Boston Celtics. Like that is insane to me that you guys still traded Luka. Again, I don't blame the fans. I blame the front office for that. Nico Harrison. So thank you. I forgot the name for a second. But man, like what is going on?
What is going on? I mean, and Klay Thompson, he literally left the Golden State Warriors.
Oh, he's just join
Kyrie and Luka, and all of a sudden, Luka's not there anymore. Kyrie, I feel like maybe he's gonna be loyal.
Not come back.
He's gonna be loyal to that team, but I don't know, man. Like whatever he's seeing writing on the wall, he's probably gonna ask. I mean, obviously he can't do it this season. I'm talking about like next season. Like he's probably gonna ask his way out of Dallas because I mean, this is a guy that's still trying to, just like Kevin Durant has tried to do, win a chip without Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. Kyrie's trying to win a chip without LeBron and Kevin Love. So those are two players like right now we can, even during summer when we're not gonna have like that much headlines because we'll be talking about baseball. We're gonna be talking about FIFA and all that. But summer is where most of us sports analysts basically start creating headlines, like interesting debates. And so one of those is gonna be like, who has a better shot winning a chip, Durant or Kyrie, before they retired?
I think it's Durant right now at this moment in time. At this moment in time, if we're talking, it's going to be Durant.
And both of them are in Texas teams, which is interesting.
Maybe it's a little Fred VanVleet for Kyrie swap.
Yep, that was actually a very good take. I forgot about Toronto. Like I slept on that.
It's okay. Toronto's always slept on.
Yeah, no, but literally, Toronto right now, like they can make big noise, like they did on 2019. And I'm not talking about this season. I'm talking like next season also, and they stay with the same core. So it's gonna be interesting watching the outcome with that team, especially in that Eastern, which is more flexible. Also with Boston, if Tatum literally decides to come back, I would not force him. I would wait for next season. But Boston to be second in the East, I mean that's crazy. And I gotta not only Jaylen Brown, I gotta give credit to Joe Mazzulla. Before we wrap up this show, I gotta give a big announcement that the whole public.
Listen, Raul. Now that the second half of basketball season is coming out, I have another reason to stay at Dolphin Mall. Because normally when I go to Dolphin Mall and I watch these games, I'm staying around, I'm having a drink, I'm looking around. But now I don't have a reason to leave Dolphin Mall in Miami because Metropol Restaurant is finally here, man. I've heard they've had some of the best Puerto Rican and Cuban dishes, traditional dishes like stuffed chicken, seafood, mofongo, fried pork, ribs, and much more. So thank you, Metropol Restaurant, for sponsoring this video. I look forward to being at your restaurant while watching the second half of the season.
Yes, sir. And also at the same time, watch the NHL playoffs. Even though the Panthers aren't gonna probably.
Hey, I'm going. Listen, if the Panthers don't make it, I'm going for Patrick Kane and the Detroit Red Wings. That's my team.
Ooh, that's actually an interesting pick.
Lucas Raymond, baby.
That's a surprising team at the same time. Like a lot of people weren't talking about them in this season, like being contenders or possibly make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, and that's a team that is a sleeper. Right now,
they're gonna make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Watch.
I'll take your word for it. Just to wrap it up, real quick, Nick. After multiple fights, quarterback Trinidad Chambliss earns another season of eligibility. Obviously, the last show, Nick was talking about like having hopes for the Miami Dolphins, especially after the day that they'd have releasing one of the
Why do I
best
have hopes?
defenders
Why do I have hopes? Why
and
do
the
I have hopes
best
anymore?
offensive players. Can Ole Miss make another playoff push? I'm gonna wrap it up quick saying it. Right now, when you're watching every conference and after the season that Trinidad Chambliss had, remember, this guy used to be in Division 2. This is his first season with a Division 1 team, and he balled out 22 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions, almost 4,000 yards, and a 66% completion, 8 rushing touchdowns when he used to play with Division 2. Now, you don't see somebody coming out of a college program like Ferris State, winning a couple awards and winning national championships in that Division 2 in 2022, 2024. All of a sudden going to a program like Ole Miss and all of a sudden being this close to make it to the national championship, whether they were the favorites or not. He had an amazing season. And I feel like there's not going to be a lot of those players from that core that are going to be drafted in the NFL. There's certain, but most of them are going to return for another season. And I feel like in their conference, the SEC, right now, who dominated more? The ACC. So I feel like them are a threat to Georgia, to Alabama, Texas A&M, to those teams who finished basically in the top 4. I feel like if Ole Miss were the favorites against UM, let's start with that. A lot of people can say that they disappointed, but U Miami, they were slept on from the beginning. And who did they beat? Every single SEC team in the playoffs.
Well, let's be real. It was 2 of them. It was Texas A&M and
Texas A&M
Ole Miss.
and Ole Miss. Ohio State, I get it. They're in the Big Ten.
Frauds.
I mean, they're not frauds. I mean, they also
come on, bro.
they come on, man. They're also they were the best defensive team in the league. Let's start with that.
True, but
They're the best defensive
again,
team in the league.
You couldn't compete with Miami.
Oh, come on, man. All right, bro. I mean, bro, there has been 2 before. Before Indiana winning it, there's been 3 exactly straight seasons, Big Ten winning it all. Michigan, Ohio State, and now Indiana. So even though ACC teams literally did a good job this season, right now the SEC is not like the favorites or the team that most of them in different conferences are afraid of anymore. They've proven that they can beat them regular or postseason. And so that's why I'm giving like a good percentage that Ole Miss can make another big playoff push, especially with Trinidad Chambliss coming back. And depending on the season that he has, he probably could be a top 5 pick in the NFL 2027 draft.
I like that take. I do like that take, and I like where your head's at, Raul. I'm gonna be quick with this so Anthony doesn't kill us since we are a little.
He's gonna kill us already. He's gonna kill us already.
Obviously, but Ole Miss is they're primed to be back now, especially with Trinidad coming back, because now you have guys like Kewan Lacey, Deuce Alexander, Caleb Odom, and then you have Will Eccles on the defensive end, Jamarius Brown. Like, these are guys that are ready to compete and ready to really step up to the plate again and want that chip. Like we left a really bad dent on them when we beat them because they really felt like they should have beat us. And in ways, maybe they could have, And I want to go back to what you were saying about Trinidad Chambliss, and especially with being with Ferris State, because when he was with Ferris State and then coming to the NCAA, I don't want to jump ahead of myself. I don't want to jump ahead of myself, but it's kind of Cam Ward-esque, Like, you don't really see guys that go from those little lower division programs and then jump to NCAA and ball out like that, because that's what he did. He balled out, man. He was amazing for the season. And Dolphins plan 6.0. He might hopefully next season we get him, because that would be an amazing pickup for us, because that guy, he's one of the very few quarterbacks that looks NFL ready right now. and he's going back to college for next season. Next year he's gonna be 24 years old, probably entering the draft maybe around 25. I don't know his birthday, but
He's 23 years old.
Yeah, but next season he'll be
at the end,
24.
At the end of the day, he's not 26. You know
Yeah, he'll be drafted like Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix, a little older quarterbacks, but if they're established and ready, they should be fine. But I think Ole Miss will make another playoff push. I don't know how deep they're going to be this year, considering that, and I compare Miami because everybody's been saying it since they left. The defense is going to be better. The offense is going to be better. Everything about that team right now is going to be better. And especially with getting our Duke boys, thank you, Lord, getting our Duke boys now. I don't see a reason why Miami would even
quarterback and wide receiver.
Yeah, man. I don't see Miami would have a real reason on missing the playoffs, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Ole Miss, and I think Ole Miss is going to make a very strong push. I don't know if they're going to win that SEC championship, but again, who knows, man? Because Bama right now doesn't look like they're going to be the guys.
Right now, like I said, nobody's scared right now of Bama, especially.
Bama
Georgia,
is a shell of themselves.
Yeah, Georgia. Yeah, they're probably gonna be there in the hunt. A lot of people like me predicted they could come back to the national championship game. It's mostly, I feel like the Big Ten is where it's more fearful.
Well, let's not forget about the Texas A&M Aggies, because the Aggies also have a lot of guys coming back for next season, and they did look really strong. So the Aggies can be a really big contender for next year and making another playoff push as well. So, in my SEC championship,
what about Texas with Arch Manning? I feel like he's got to reinvent himself with that program.
I don't think it's necessarily reinvent himself. I think he's gonna be fine. I think it's more of the entire landscape of the offense that needs to be fixed. Because when you have a guy that's that dynamic and that athletic, and he can make those big throws when you need him to, it could always be a quarterback problem. I don't want to say there can't be a quarterback problem, but clearly there's something wrong with that offense. That offensive line didn't exactly look like the best this season. The receivers kind of looked all over the place for the most part. The running game was fantastic, but Archer's kind of looked lost in his first season. And I don't want to. And I talked a lot of crap about Arch towards the beginning of the season, but I do have a lot of upside for him right now where I stand. So SEC can be competitive, and they will stand as competitive. But right now, like you said, right, the ACC, we'll see how competitive the ACC can be this next season. Because again, you have FSU, who's with Mike Norvell. Thank you for re-signing Mike Norvell, FSU. I appreciate that because he's going to be terrible for you guys. Duke, they just lost two of their best players in the entire ACC. Boston College, they're not very good. Pitt is always a pretty competitive team every year. Miami should win the ACC championship this upcoming season, so we'll see.
Definitely. Just to wrap it up, at the same time, even though this team is not in a conference, like we can't sleep on Notre Dame, especially Marcus Freeman. After everything that they said, they better minimum.
They jinxed us that game. That's why we lost. I'm calling it. They jinxed us.
No, most definitely. But minimum, like after everything they talked about, that they deserve to be over Miami in the playoffs, like they better from the beginning
and saying that
from the beginning until the end, they better start like basically making a statement of why they should be a threat this coming season. And let's just say why they supposedly deserve, even though they didn't, because they lost to Miami in the first game of the season. Like, even though you guys won your last games, I mean, they started 0-2, finished strong, winning the rest of the season. But still, like, it is what it is.
They want their rematch next year. They want their rematch next year, and we're going to take it away from them. You all the way, baby.
Yes, sir. All right, that was a good take, Nick. And I mean, college football, but all three conferences, Big Ten, SEC, they've mostly been recognized as being the most toughest. But the ACC has proven that right now they have their league of their own, and then they can be mostly contenders in the upcoming seasons. And whoever basically represents them in the national championship, they could win it all. So I like ACC also like being in the mixture, because every single year for decades we've been talking about the SEC, the Big Ten, the Big 12 at one point until that blew up. So I like where that conference right now is going, but most definitely Ole Miss. Right now, we can say they are the most difficult or actual up for grabs type of conference that they can definitely over Texas A&M and Alabama and Georgia make it all the way to the national championship. And with Trinidad Chambliss, that starts with him. That's a good basically headline for them. And so I got Ole Miss basically making a lot of noise next season with that quarterback could possibly be the Heisman winner for the upcoming
early
season.
call. I like it.
Early call. We'll make a couple of more predictions once the season comes. But yeah, I gotta say that they can definitely make a playoff push. They were this close to making Cincinnati. They can actually make it for next season, and this is a positive note for them. So that's how we wrap up this new episode of Section 305, the Sports Show. I'm Raul Pagan with Nick Dupont. We'll be back next week.
Don't forget it, guys. Rebuild 6.0. Have hope. Actually, I don't want to say have hope yet. Let's watch the draft first.
We'll end it up with that notes. See you next week, everybody.